for Sweden, of course, it's extremely important to finally be covered by Article 5 and the collective defense, especially, as you mentioned, after 2 years since we left non-alignment behind, but we're still not fully aligned. This was a big step for Sweden, and I think there's a lot of faith in NATO and what NATO could do for European security.
What about, Article 5 and that guarantee, which of course enshrines collective defense? Is it as strong as previously claimed to be, do you think, especially if we are to see a second Trump presidency?
Well, I mean, it's we can make it stronger by practicing and by having actually ready plans. But of course, it is important also how you talk about Article 5 and the signals you send, both internally and in relation to the actor you want to deter, in this case, Russia. So of course, I don't think it wouldn't be helpful if Trump continues to degrade Article 5 like he's done before.
Bjorn, Sweden's been working with NATO for decades. I know this for a fact. You know it for a fact as well. What's actually going to change?
Well, I think in principle, it's a big change for Sweden, moving from non-alignment. In reality, or I mean, Sweden's neutrality was always pretty pragmatic, and we joined the European Union. We've been very involved in their defense cooperation. We've had a very strong defense cooperation with Finland. So perhaps for Sweden, it was more of a step-by-step change than a very fundamental change. But for NATO, it is also a big change. First of all, you gain access to Swedish territory, which is, I would say, very important in order to reassure and defend the Baltics and Finland. You get more access to the high north, allow for training, etc. You get better control of the Baltic Sea. So geography is a big change for NATO. Just think of the island of Gotland, from where you can essentially defend the Baltic Sea. But then also values. Sweden is a strong democracy with a strong support for NATO membership. And I would also point out the defense industry. Sweden has a pretty potent defense industry. We're one of the few countries producing both fighter jets and submarines. So now NATO has one more of those. And then perhaps also industry in general. Sweden has a very strong tech sector, startup, space sector. And we see that this kind of access to emerging and critical technologies is key for deterrence. So that will be important for NATO as well.